welcome to Valley Voice Editorial, the Christmas edition. And we are here to talk about Santa Tell Me. Um, I'm Dawn Bateman in North Carolina, and I'm with some of our other admins to talk about this movie.
Marg Stark from San Diego.
Jennifer Young from Seattle.
Hey guys, Janette in Michigan.
All righty. Well, now we have, well, we're just going to go first about the announcement for When Calls the Heart, because this is what we always want to know. But that was a surprise. January 5th.
Crazy.
Next year. Like we're what, how many?
We're weeks away.
Weeks
I
away.
was gonna
Yes.
say, we're going to do days at this point.
Yeah, seriously.
So what do you think?
Shortest span we've ever waited.
I
Shortest.
know.
I'm gobsmacked. I'm still absorbing the shock. Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
any
same.
of us expected it at all.
No.
No,
At all.
no,
I was
jaws
hoping
are
for,
on
like,
the
a
floor.
preview.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Well-
and it could will we take a break for Super Bowl? Like there's a lot in play here. When will it continue? And yeah, we'll be literally just finishing Christmas movies and boom.
I mean, it was just a reflection of our first season because it was in January. It was really close to my birthday. That's the reason why I always will think about it. But I'm like, that was just a shock, I think, for me. But I'm really excited about it. And we had just some clip. We saw Melissa Gilbert there. So, and then the relationship with Nathan and Elizabeth are going forward. So we know that that's the situation. So, but I'm so excited.
The graphic is beautiful. Although it was funny, it's different on different TV screens. It looked like kind of sunny to us, but then Brian's version was more blues tones. Anyway, it's a gorgeous graphic.
Well, we definitely have to analyze every teeny bit of that few seconds, because did you guys catch one of the things that I thought was interesting was it felt like Bill knew what is it, Georgie?
Yeah.
Like there was almost the implication.
Oh, it's definitely yes.
Yeah.
She let herself in. He knows her.
Yeah.
What's
that about?
He didn't seem mad that she was there.
No,
not at all. Not at all.
Boy.
I don't know. I mean, that is the storylines that I'm really looking forward to, because what the relationship is, what's going on. I'm curious, like right now, curious about that.
She looked beautiful, Melissa Gilbert. Yeah.
I mean,
really
fits right in. My goodness, she just
exactly. It's just like,
there.
wow.
Yeah. And I did enjoy that they did the little hi, hey with Nathan and Elizabeth. I did a whole reel of just their highs, because they're always so cute, like hi, hey.
Yeah.
So that was
cute. Well, it's
tiny little clip, and Hearties are already like screenshotting every frame, talking about
new content. Come on. I mean,
it was an onslaught of new content. I mean, here we had the epic reunion to look forward to this weekend, but then we had the wrap on Thursday and Friday. We just got this onslaught of photos, and then the wrap party on Saturday night and all the video, and then this is like hearty heaven. It was hearty heaven.
And don't you wonder, did the cast at the party know that they were going to drop this bomb, like
right
in the Hardy world, during their party?
Right.
Christmas was early.
It really was. And Christmas came a little bit early for you as well, Janette Stephens.
It did, yeah.
You got to visit the set of Santa Tell Me. We need to hear about it. We need to hear about this experience. What can you share?
Yeah, I mean, I got an invite to come visit, I think because I was like one of the most vocal people about this movie reunion.
Is that the case? Is that really true that you were the most vocal? Yes, I think. 8 years we've been waiting. Yes.
There's no one to compare.
No.
Well, when they put I like to think I just was there representing the hundreds of thousands of Hearties that wanted it too. But Yeah, when they first announced the movie and I put together that little reel of like all the times I had tweeted and asked and like posted, I think it went all the way back to like 2015, like probably like right when the show started, near when the show started. So yeah, even when they were still on.
I love the modern, the two in this new version of, versus the 1910, which was lovely. But I'm glad that we have a kind of a current one. I love that.
So tell us about you were featured as an extra in the train scene.
Well,
what was that like?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that going. Like
Oh, you didn't?
No, I just thought I was going to visit set. And then Erin actually surprised me. I have a video of her surprising me. They kind of played it off like, oh, we're just getting some content for Hallmark, to do a promo. And then Erin was like, and we'd love to invite Janette to, to be this scene was missing something and we'd love to have you in this scene. So totally surprised me. All of a sudden they were whisking me around to get my hair and makeup done and get a costume. It was crazy. I was like, what is happening? The whole time it was happening.
That train station, was that an actual train station? Oh, it was.
Yeah,
that was one. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the train station that they shot in all the way back in season 2.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, yes. Right. Yeah. So that was pretty wild. Yeah. To see them
Hallmark. That's crazy. That's like a grand slam. Okay. Yeah. And so does that mean you got to see the kiss when it happened?
So I was there. I should say. Yeah, I was on set that night when I got there. They're like, by the way, you're seeing the final scene of the movie being shot, which is like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Yeah, so that was really cool. And it was funny because I like sat kind of in a video village. So I had the visual of them shooting, but I didn't have any audio. So all of that was new when I got to watch it. I got to hear their actual conversation in that last scene. But visually, it was so pretty, wasn't it? That last scene.
Oh yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah. Gorgeous.
So
we're going to get into all of that, but my goodness, is there anything else you want to add, Janette? Because what an experience that must have been.
Yeah, I mean, I got to spend a couple days. I did get to see Ben Ayers too, which was fun.
I just loved him in this. It was so funny.
Really kind.
Someone maybe you told me about Jamie, our
yeah, so it was funny because pulling up to the set that night, we had to like be shuttled into the train station, and we're in the shuttle with like a bunch of crew. And I looked at I was with Angela from Hallmark and I was like, is that a horse trailer? Like, why is there a horse trailer here? And then it just wasn't adding up in my head because we're at a train station. I'm like, why is there a horse here? And then sure enough, like when I went into the set, it was fun. I actually saw Daniel Lissing talking with Jamie, the wrangler. So because they knew each other from When Calls, and so cool. So yeah, and then as you saw, the carriage scene solved the horse mystery, but it was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And you knew, and did you know going in that Chloe McKinnon was in it?
I did not know.
I know, that was a complete surprise too. Yeah.
The other little girl has been on When Calls the Heart too. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, really?
She had a tiny little role. Remember when Greta came to town to be an investor?
Yes.
I think her name was Greta. And her little grandkids showed up with her son at the end. And they had kind of a reunion.
Yes. Okay.
I think the other girl was one of the grandkids. So I don't know that she had any lines, but she was
They were both really talented. Both both playing the younger Olivia and Darcy. Super good. All right. Well, let's get into it because we literally have been waiting 8 years for this reunion, and let's find out if you guys think it delivered. Let's start with the story and the script. What are your thoughts? You can rate it 1 to 10. You can tell me what you thought. What are your thoughts?
Well, to me, I laughed really hard because all the Nicks had to go to the hospital. We have a concussion. We have the eye pop. I mean, like, and the guy, the second one that was, with the snowball.
Snowball.
Oh my gosh. His face was so funny. It was so good.
I totally noticed that too. The way his eyes like rolled back, and Christopher Russell. Yeah. Really good. Gosh.
but yeah, and then there's a lot of lines that were just so funny. One was, well, success is in progress. Something about, the successful is in progress, something like that. I don't remember what the line itself. I thought I wrote it down, but I mean, there's so many things, talk about the gas station sushi.
That was cute.
That was
everyone knows what that is.
The equivalent to gas station sushi. Yeah.
Yeah. So love it.
I loved it because usually you see the guy trying to juggle all of the girls. And when all of the Nicks were at the house and she's like, oh, it's like, you can just see like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Like, what's going to happen? And
her delivery in that scene, the way she said Nick progressively just got more and more panicky. In the last one where she's like,
yeah. I love the Nick pick.
That was hysterical. We need to get a Nick pick.
They slid a couple in there that I was like, that was one. When you saw the guy's face, it's like when I rewatched, you can see Ben's character Nick A kind of go, and then Christopher Russell was like, oh,
yeah, no, that's
so funny.
The three of them played it so comically, so funny, and that whole scene was gold. It was just gold. It was so much fun. It was so awkward. It was so ridiculous and really fun. And it was great. I enjoyed, as you said, the whole like slapstick kind of feel to it, the champagne popping into Ben's eye and then headbutting each other and falling on the ice. And it was just like all the injuries that snowball scene was. And I loved Daniel turning to, well, as Chris turning to the elf, and he was like, I think he'll be all right. I mean, there's something about how he said, he was like, I think he's going to be okay. But is there any chance that might qualify for the snow globe? It was like, it was darling. It was just darling.
Oh, it's just so funny.
That was the word for this, for me, for this movie. It just was darling. It was just a darling, sweet, hilarious movie. So much fun. Yeah.
Well, and it was script-wise, it was so interesting because Chris was really quite a contrast to the three Nicks, because it was almost like the comedy was so heavy in the first half. Yeah. And then you got to and you could really see that contrast because Chris was so serious at the beginning. And the Nicks were just, it was like slapstick. And then the comedy was heavy there, but then it was cool the second half to kind of see more of their story
develop. Yes.
And the way they made each other's dreams come true or brought back favorite memories. And so it was an interesting balance. And for me, I was nervous because, I'm like, it's Dan and Erin's movie, like, and you're putting three other guys in it. Was kind of my initial reaction.
I bet. Yes.
So I was curious how that would kind of play out. So yeah, it was, but the comedy really, to me, it was a good sacrifice because the comedy added so much to the movie that it did. There was a good dose.
There was a magical element as well that, do we have the script writer? Do you have the name?
Ryan Landells is his name.
Ryan Landell. Okay. So, that's part of the script and the glowing of the purse and, the grates from the house, things like that. That's just kind of the whole Yuletide magic, you just love that, you're just grab, this is a Christmas movie for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I to pull off 4 meet cutes well is quite a feat. And I thought each one was fantastic. I thought the rideshare meet cute from the start was absolutely darling. And then I was right there with the coffee with Nick A. I was right there with Nick A and the sweater, Nick B, I mean, it was darling. And then the firefighter who keeps taking selfies.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He was really into himself for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard as a writer to distinguish those characters very quickly. And I thought they did a great job with it. And I think the tone is, as you described, is like that magic and the comedy, like playing with it so that the magic didn't feel hokey because you had the playoff of the comedy to, you know, to give it some realism. The fact that she kept putting it in the trash and then the letter would show up.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So,
and the way they kind of made fun of the magic. I mean, even when she was like, it's just your everyday normal psychotic breakdown. Like, you know, she made some comment like it was like you could buy into it, but also the reality.
Shout out to him for that.
Yeah.
Those
yeah, so Ryan Lindell's good job. Hats off to the
mm-hmm.
to the writer. I think it was great.
I was gonna say,
and the fact that Dan kept breaking things in the house, I just loved putting his hand through the wall and then going, you know, it was like every time he tried to like say it's gonna be fine, you know, there would be. It's great. Great.
It was Money Pit vibes. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Movie,
I love
the
that
Money
movie.
Pit. For a minute there, I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to fall through a hole in the floor too? That'd be awesome.
Ooh.
All right, well, let's talk about the chemistry between the various characters, not just the chemistry between Dan and Erin, but also between the various Nick A, B, and C with Olivia, as well as the sisters. You know, how did you feel about that?
No, the sisters, they did so. I mean, they were so good together, and just like you could feel the love, and you could also feel like the sisterly, like, get it together, like, come on, figure this out, we gotta figure this out. And yeah, so I kind of loved that. And the chemistry with the guys, I mean, it was great. It was exactly what it needed to be with each one. And, you know, kind of the Nick, and I don't remember which last name, but the one that took selfies of himself all the time.
It was C.
You know, it's C. Thank you. Yeah. Like it was great because it was kind of like, yeah, maybe he is not it. You know? And then, you know, the one with the reindeer sweater, like, oh, maybe he could be. And then the other one was probably the next in line. And then of course there was Chris, who was Nick.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
It's interesting about the other guys. So as it was Nick A and B.
A, B, C.
Yeah. So Nick A was
and
it was just like the intelligent one, doctor. And then the second one was just the hand working kind of thing. And the next one was just like,
he's good with his hands.
Yeah,
exactly. Line. He's really good with his hands. That was a great line. Okay, and Nick C was what?
The firefighter. So just kind of self-absorbed, you know, it's all about the calendar, you know, his physique, you know, things like that. So you have all the categories already there. So now we have to, you know, combine all of those to go to Chris. But I love the, you know, even with Erin, with the separate guys, I mean, that was so great. You could see chemistry there. With their individual dates and things like that. So, and the sisters were just lovely. So I enjoyed that. There's just a lot to just enjoy in this particular movie.
I liked the movie also because like there's some Hallmark movies that you watch and you're like, oh, that was cute. Okay. and you kind of move on, but this is one that you can watch a few times.
Oh, you want to do
still
it.
See,
yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't catch that before, or oh, you know. So I really,
very fast paced, especially with the comedy. There were a lot of jokes that I caught the second time around that I didn't. There was one tiny little moment where, and this is kind of off the chemistry topic, but with Darcy, the sister, I think I must have been tweeting and I looked down when she walked into the woodworking shop. I don't know if anybody caught this.
With the antlers?
And she picks the antler and they break off and she's no. And then she keeps walking and she hides them.
So funny. It's like, it's in a box and just close it.
Like, and her reaction, her facial expressions are hysterical.
That's great.
I love it.
I
love those micro.
Go back and watch. Yeah.
Micro expressions, things like that.
Yes, exactly. So I watched, when it comes to the Nicks though, I watched with a group of family members and some friends, and there was like, I could hear people like, which Nick do you like? Which Nick? I like Nick A. I look like everyone and I'm like, who is picking Nicks? It's Chris, people. I'm like, you need to leave the party if you're.
I was gonna say this is a point where you're like, you cannot be watching with other people. This is
Well, Nick A, the idea that it was the surgeon, something about borders,
Doctors Without Borders.
Doctors Without Borders. I'm like,
and he rented the entire ice rink.
So you guys got the
come on, the guy's got game.
Yeah.
Did you catch when he told her that he worked with Doctors Without Borders, and she almost like rolled her eyes like, could you be any more perfect? Like, are you kidding me?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so funny.
And I loved the sisters. Jess, I got to chat with Jess Brown, and didn't in the previews, her role didn't seem that big, and it was really a very integral role.
Part of it.
So much comedy between them, like the horse ride at the end, she's like, just let me have this, like they're just,
I love that line.
The banter was just, it was so good between the two sisters.
So can we just talk now about Chris and Olivia?
Let's talk about Chris and Olivia.
Gotta talk about
their chemistry. I mean, wow. Okay, they need another series. They need something because I love them on screen. It's just so good. So good. And
no, I totally I kept saying, wow, Erin is so good. Like, it's like as if I need to be remembered, but it's just like in everything she does, she's so good. And then same with Dan. It was like, oh, come on right now. Their flirting it's like no other. It's like no other.
And I do think many were worried because there had been a lot of time. The 5 to 7 years, like, is it
a lot of pressure?
Like, is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different? And I watched, all of Daniel's Christmas movies, and honestly, his performance, and I think this is related to the chemistry and the way they work together. It was one of his best that I've seen in one of the Christmas movies. Just there's a comfort there.
I think they genuinely bring out the best in each other.
Exactly.
And I was like watching them. I was like, am I going to think like, oh, it's Jack and Elizabeth? But I didn't at all.
Same.
And they were just, it's that level. I think, like you said, it's that level of comfort and just familiarity. And it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah. Well, after the movie was done, sorry. It was just a moment of, I want more. I want more for them in particular. I would love to have another movie. I mean, springtime, fall, Christmas. I don't care, I love them on screen together.
Well, and I do think it was good timing. Like, I talked with Erin a little bit on my chat I did with her, where she's like, it's just, people have now with When Calls the Heart, we see her with Nathan and we see her in a happy place. And it's almost like with all this time passed, it feels like people are able to separate those things. And I felt the same way, Jen. Like, I didn't, the only thing that made me think of Jack and Elizabeth were just like tiny little nuances, like the twirl. I loved the little twirl she did. Like, they're, little throwbacks, but it never, character-wise, I never was like, oh, that's so Jack and Elizabeth, or it just, it just speaks to their acting, like that they can totally separate those characters. Is really.
There was a part at the end that I was like, oh man, did they throw this in for the Hearties? Because she said something to the tune of like, we've waited so long for this, or something, and I was like, yes, we all have. We're all
the very last line of the movie, it very much felt like,
I was like, oh,
I loved how that moment tied in. In her initial Christmas letter to Santa, she said, and if it's not too much to ask, could there be bells chiming, string music playing, and snow falling?
I love that.
I mean, it was just like, I was thinking, I wasn't really thinking about Jack and Elizabeth, but I was thinking so much about the Hearties. And so it was just like, oh yes, Hallmark, it was like, bring it on. It was just, it was such a climactic moment, and they did it so beautifully. Dan and Erin did it so beautifully, and it just was.
And there's something about their chemistry. They never rush anything. Like
right.
just the looks that they share between them, and there's just such a lovely like cadence and ease and unspoken words between them that it's just
special.
special.
And this goes to the script that it just, from moment one, Chris was intent on bringing the heart to the show, and he brought her back to her childhood home. So all the evidence was like there throughout that he kept speaking to her childhood wish. He was the one who, found the drawings and the ornaments and, all this stuff that echoed back. So that was it was special and gave it that depth that you needed as it grew. But yeah, very well done.
And that he listened to her and knew what she wanted deep down. And like, that's what every girl wants, like the guy the other three Nicks just weren't so good at the listening piece. It was more about them a little bit. So.
Yeah. And when she goes and does the tree outside of his apartment or his townhouse, and then he does the prop warehouse sleigh ride. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Really, that must have been fun for the stylist to do those prop warehouse scenes, because there were so many cool movie like props in the background in the prop warehouse. I was thinking about our set decorators and how much fun that must have been, and the costuming too. We haven't even talked about that. I like, where is the app that shows me what every sweater, that green checked coat that she had on?
Super cute.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. But layered with the other green. And that was an interesting choice. I think it was not a Christmas dream, and it didn't match it was complimentary, but I was like, ooh, that's a good idea.
Well,
I loved all of her beautiful sweaters. And then Dan was also in like a teal sweater at one point. That was
the scene which is one of the first where you really see that their feelings are growing, when they sit down at the dining room table and he starts to talk with her about his dreams, and she's wearing like a blue coat and her blue eyes are shining, and he's wearing like a deep green, and his like greenish eyes are, it's just like, oh my gosh, they
love a lot of detail. Janette, you just are
a lot of detail.
Well, that's because I do all the fan art. I notice like the coloring and the
definitely
things.
All right, let's talk about the Christmas vibe. Did it get you in the mood? Obviously it got you in the mood, Janette, because you're wearing your Santa hat today. Yeah, and I will confess that Janette had to be the one to tell me that it's Santa Tell Me Like the Song. Like I hadn't picked I was like,
no.
Okay. So Santa Tell Me, how did it feel to you in terms of its Christmas vibe?
That it hit the right tones. I don't think it overdid it. When I chatted with Dan about it, I thought it was funny because he was saying how like other movies, some will be like every frame is like he goes Christmas, 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 like it's like Christmas vomited on the entire movie.
Yeah.
And this was a good balance. And I think because the characters were both kind of designers and had, that kind of eye, it was more, it wasn't as overwhelming. It was more like a subtle beauty for the overriding movie, I think. I love the big red bow. Big red bow on the house.
The big red bow on the house, and the really fact that echoed back to the dollhouse was really neat.
Yeah. Well, they went to the Christmas market 2 times.
Of course,
they used the set in a way that but you didn't feel like it was repetitive. It was good. Yeah.
We got 2.
It was a good lead up, because we are still in November, right? It was a good lead up, like, okay, maybe I do kind of want to get some Christmas decorations out. Yeah. Like maybe a few wouldn't be so bad. And yeah, it was definitely a good balance. I wasn't feeling like, Christmas was really, well, like Dan said, Christmas.
I love that. Did you see in the first meet cute the mug that had the Santa in in the foam of the latte.
Yes.
It was beautiful. Yeah. I was like, hello, let's bring it.
Even the Santa character was pretty subtle. You
really,
in his outfit twice.
Yeah. Oh, I did.
But that's what I liked about it too.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, you know, I'm glad that they were just so subtle with it. That was good.
So at the end, we had the kind of benevolent moment where Mary comes over with the basket and we find out that Chris has been attending to a children's charity to make sure that they, you know, so that was really a nice grounding kind of she sees his heart moment. But yeah, balance to the kind of slapstick nature of it, you know, showing more of his deeper side. So that was cool.
All right, in terms of the snowy scenes too, we got the
exactly scenes. And then you know we got an action scene, we got a carriage ride action scene with the sisters, and I always love in a rom-com when you know when you have to race against the clock to stop somebody from leaving, and it's usually the guy running after the girl. So I really love it that was reversed and that she was, you know, it was good. It was really good. Okay. Did you, all the feels, did it stir your heart? Did you cry? Did you laugh?
I did not cry.
Okay.
Yeah. But it hit everything else. It put you in the mood for Christmas. It was sweet. It was hilarious. It was all the feels without the tears, which was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it was it warmed my, what's the word? Warm the cockles of my heart. Yeah, yes. It was so good. I mean, I laughed, especially with the first, with the Knicks. That was just funny. But you know, the heartwarming that they had serious conversations about growing up and
when she said I hadn't seen my mom's handwriting in a long time.
Yeah. So those are the moments I was just like, oh, it was so good. So good.
Yeah. You must have had all the feels for this movie because just even the announcement alone made us cry, you know, with glee.
With glee.
Yeah. I mean, just 100% sentimental and nostalgia, like it, you know, and just pinching myself, like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Like we're seeing them on screen together again. And yeah, I think the nostalgic moment for me was the scene when she comes to his house to decorate the tree, and because she does do a little happy twirl when he comes down the steps, and she kind of does the shuffle like Elizabeth did. And then I loved the way that they kept looking back at each other when they were walking away. You know, that scene was definitely
that was a good one.
Yeah, there's all the feels. But on the comedy side of things, I do have to share, because I don't know about you guys, like generally in Hallmark movies with comedy, I laugh, but like laughing out loud is kind of rare.
And
yes. There were 3 laugh out loud moments that just killed me. And watching it with a bunch of people, like I'm curious if you guys had the same experience. When he says you almost got ran over by a reindeer.
Yes.
Like
got it. Yeah.
That was a laugh out loud. That the candy canes with the Knicks. Okay. The fact that they added squeakers to the candy canes. And when he holds the one up in front of the guy's mouth, it's just I can't. I mean, even now, it's like whoever the genius was that like made them squeak, like even added to it. And then the third one was when all the Knicks kept showing up, and Erin's performance in that scene where she just was like Nick, and the last one was so good.
The voice level gets higher and higher.
Yes. And her emotions even get bigger and bigger and just more panicky, you know. So it was great because you got the nostalgia and the laugh out loud, and yeah, that covers the gamut of the feels, I think.
I love that when he, you know, starts to go into anaphylactic shock when she puts the almond on the cookie, and then that whole candy cane hitting each other scene, and just the way that they were standing when, you know, they're vying for her to choose. And then when they leave, when she refuses to choose and Ben Ayers goes up and puts his finger on her my gosh.
Funny.
I don't know if that was a I don't know if that was a director's choice or his choice, but it was funny. It was
he tweeted somebody commented on it and asked if it was ad lib, and he goes, Erin Krakow made me do it or something like that.
Oh my gosh, it was hysterical. Hysterical. And funny. I think having them all three there, they just upped their game more. And
what moment gave you guys the most nostalgia? Was there a specific one between them?
Nostalgia?
Yeah, like when you got sentimental about Dan and Erin working together.
In the sleigh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the tree. Yeah. When she went to decorate the tree. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. I wanted more. I just want more.
And honestly, even in the beginning when she first got in the car.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of shades of like
totally
season 1 of that like back and forth. And I was that was
I love just shooting his eyes in the rearview mirror and that banter. I looked for that banter and it was right there.
Yeah, that's a great directing choice for sure. I like the angle and things like that. So do we know the director?
It's Ryan Landell.
He wrote and directed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Both.
Right.
Yeah, I tweeted, I would know those eyes in the rearview mirror anywhere.
Right.
All the Hearties
surprised.
Would. All the Hearties would.
All right, something new. Did it break the Hallmark formula? Did it veer away from that? Was it true to it? What are your thoughts?
She kissed 2 different guys.
She did.
Yeah. That's
she did.
Hallmark.
True.
Yeah.
I would so that one really threw me. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. And I mean, as Janette's very funny meme did last week, it's like for them to have not just a triangle, but we've got, there's 4 guys vying for her attention. Right. I absolutely loved when she went to the same restaurant with each Nick
all the time.
That Mater D was like, oh, okay.
That was funny.
And the looks the looks at the last one, he looked at her like, yeah, get it, girl.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was just gonna be like a silent role, and he nailed it. That actor.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes. He jumped off the screen in that totally.
Yeah, unsung hero for that one.
Well, that's he's a first time. This is his first project with Hallmark too, Ryan, the writer.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so that was it was cool to see something fresh and new. I definitely thought the meet cute, like you said, I mean, after all, thousands of meet cutes that have occurred in the Hallmark universe, to come up with that. And it was funny because when you talk about the having to write the 4 different relationships, when I was on set, like literally everyone kept saying, like, if they end up together, if Dan and Erin as characters, and I'm like, you guys, it's like, Dan and Erin's movie. Can we but to their credit, the fact that they brought in, like, it was like well-known Hallmark leading men.
Yes,
so,
yes.
You weren't like over the moon about the Dan and Erin thing. Maybe you were thinking she might end up with any of them. So,
well, I think I like that they didn't have a tree lighting ceremony. They didn't have a festival. They did have a market, which is good. But I don't know that was like molded to the Hallmark world, but it to me met everything that you want to have. Comedy, some serious moments, Christmas. It was it was Yuletide magic. So I think, but it was not really part of the mold of what we always look like. We always look for the Christmas tree ceremony or the festival. Those are the things that are always part of it. And they didn't have that for this one.
Well, just the regular formula. It was very different from the regular
exactly
boy meets girl, boy has girl.
Yeah.
I think the idea of the holiday house makeover and the 2 TV personalities, that was pretty hackneyed, but frankly it they offset that with so much that was new that it totally worked.
Right.
And they played with the, the fact they introduced the, kind of disappearing ink and the magic on the card and the glowing and then the slapstick and the, all of that just made it feel new and different and very fast paced, as you said, which I think seems to be in many of the Christmas movies this year. We're seeing a very fast, it's moving along very quickly. So I thought it was very well done. I felt like at the end, I was like, ooh, they really understood the assignment. Like they knew how important it was for the Hearties to get this right and that it be high quality, and it absolutely delivered. So
yeah. And
that's not
showed up
under those kinds of pressure,
Yeah. And Hearties showed up. We were trending on Twitter for the movie, and in the US trends. Nice. So yeah, I think
so people good.
I hope all the Hearties were as satisfied with it as we were. So
so good. Well,
I did want to mention real quick about Ryan. If people loved that style, he does have a second movie coming out. It's not one called Heart
when is it?
But it's the Sugar Plumbed movie that's coming in December. It has Maggie Lawson and Janelle Parrish.
So, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it might, I'm curious to watch it to see if it has a similar vibe, right? Like if it has that much comedy in it or fast pacedness to it. Yeah.
Great job. Anything else you wanted to add that you loved, or because there was a lot to love?
Yeah, lot to love. That's for sure. Yeah, I loved it. Well, and I just need to kind of highlight Janette's, momentary.
It was tiny.
But it's at the end of the movie, and if we can get some pictures, we'll make sure that's part of the edit. So there's just one moment of there she is.
Blink, you missed me, but that's okay. I did have some people message me. They're like, "Where were you?" Like it's
fine. No, it was really quick.
Not a big deal.
Quick, but
just happy to be there. So
absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm delighted that you got your Christmas wish, Janette Stephens, and for all the Hearties that we got to see this amazing reunion, and that it was so good, and that it delivered on so many levels. And we have more coming. So this Thursday, Kevin McGarry stars in A Reason for the Season with Taylor Cole on the Hallmark Mystery Channel. So we will be doing another Valley Voice editorial next week to recap on that one. We still don't know about Andrea Brooks's movie, right? When and where that's airing.
There was a Heartie that shared that it is actually up on Freevee, Amazon Freevee right now.
Okay, all right. So let's find that and put that out to the Hearties.
I think it might be coming to some additional platforms too, but I think it's definitely available on Freevee.
Okay, all right. And then Dan's other movie is also streaming right now, right?
Yeah, that one's on Hulu. Renovation Romance. Yep.
What's the name of it again?
Renovation Romance.
Renovation Romance. So it's a similar kind of.
Yeah. They thought that was funny that worked out that way. They're both kind of very different movies though, but yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Well, our hearts are full. We can't believe it's only like 8 weeks away or something crazy till we get to see what House the Heart season. Insane. Wow, it's just incredible. Okay.
Unbelievable.
So Hearties, you have to stay tuned because there's just so much happening very quickly. And we can't wait to chat about it with you. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Heart to Hearties.